Good evening to all of you. Honorable Dr. Justice Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India, my dear Chancellor and benefactor of OP Jindal Global University, Mr. Naveen Jindal, Mrs. Savitri Jindal, Chairperson of OP Jindal Group, Ms. Shalu Jindal, Chancellor of OP Jindal University in Raigad, Ms. Aruna Oswal, Chairperson, Abhay Oswal Group, my dear friend Venkatesh Jindal, and of course Yashaswini Jindal, distinguished members of the Jindal family, the members of the Governing Council of the University, Management Council, Academic Council, Registrar, Deans of the Schools of JGU, Heads of Institutes, faculty members, students, staff, and of course the graduating students and their parents. It is indeed my proud privilege to welcome each one of you to this momentous occasion as we celebrate the 13th Convocation of OP Jindal Global University and the Founders' Day. To begin with, we want to pay tribute to the founder of the OP Jindal Group. Through his vision and mission, he created an extraordinary institution that all of us have benefited over the years. We pay tribute to OP Jindal Group for his contribution to nation building and his commitment to philanthropy that inspired his son, Mr. Naveen Jindal, to be a benefactor for establishing OP Jindal Global University. Let me begin by congratulating the graduating students of 2024. What an extraordinary achievement all of you have got today. Nothing gives me more happiness to see you in these beautiful colors on this occasion as we celebrate each one of your achievements and indeed the next step in your life. I also want to take this moment to congratulate all the parents who are present here. The countless sacrifices, both professional and personal, that you have undertaken all these years mattered so much in making your children today what they are, and I'm sure it will keep them in good stead for their future as well. Steve Jobs famously observed that the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who are likely to do so. I have no doubt about the fact that these graduating students of JGU are indeed going to change the world and to make the world a better place. I want to begin by saying that the extraordinary location and indeed the presence of the students today in the history of India makes them truly special. As you know, India is today the world's largest population with 1.5 billion people. But the remarkable part of India is that of this 1.5 billion people, 1 billion are less than 35 years of age. None of us on the dais are less than 35. The governing council members are not less than 35, excepting one of them. But all of you, the graduating students, you are all less than 35 years of age. When the most parts of the Western world will become older, when most parts of Eastern world will become older, India will be younger and will be younger for a longer time. At the dawn of Indian independence, our life expectancy was 32, and today it is 72. And the United Nations estimated that in the next few decades, our life expectancy will become 80 plus, which essentially means that young Indians, the graduating students of OP Jindal Global University, will be shaping the future of India and the future of the world. In fact, young people around the world are going to be shaping the future. And so, the education that you have received and the opportunities that you have received indeed going to make a huge difference. Let me also pay tribute and express my deep sense of gratitude to a few people. To begin with, the Honorable Chief Justice of India. The Honorable Chief Justice of India has indeed inspired multiple generations of law students, lawyers, and fellow judges. In fact, we are so fortunate that he is here for the third time. In 2016, he was our chief guest for our convocation. In 2022, he was again back as chief guest for our convocation. And now, at both those occasions, he was judge of the Supreme Court, and now he is back again with us as Chief Justice of India. And it is even more remarkable that simply on the middle of the week, when the court is in full session, so much work is happening in the court, he thought it appropriate to accept our invitation, and he's here. I am deeply grateful to you, sir, for your presence and your inspiration that you give to all of us every day, and to continuously work towards speaking truth to power and to recognize the role of law as an instrument of social change and to be able to make institutions and individuals accountable for their action. This alone becomes the most significant aspect of the inspiration that you give to all our students as well as others present here. Let me express my gratitude to the faculty members of JGU. I am happy to let you all have known that our faculty members, the 1,200 of them, come from 51 countries in the world and all states and union territories. They have moved from many parts of the world to Sonipat, Haryana, and have made the Jagdishpur village as their home. This is not an easy calling, easy task. They are not performing a job, but they are indeed pursuing a calling in life. And such degree of commitment and dedication is rarely seen in institution building. And I want to express my deep sense of gratitude to each member of our faculty, including all our deans, for their contributions. I want to express my deep sense of gratitude to my Chancellor, benefactor, Mr. Jindal. I was introduced to him by Mr. H.R. Bharadwaj, and I want to recognize the presence of Mrs. Bharadwaj on this occasion. And that introduction led to my meeting with Mr. Jindal on 31st October 2006. And of course, my life changed since that day. Nothing remained the same. With an idea of wanting to build an institution in India, he not only wholeheartedly accepted the idea, but recognized the extraordinary potential of education and its transformative power. He created the institution, believed in the idea of philanthropy, and joined the leagues of John Harvard, LIU, Yale, Leland, Stanford, and Rockefeller, and as well as Andrew Carnegie and other philanthropists around the world, as well as the J.R.D. Tata, who essentially made a supreme commitment towards the future. Mr. Naveen Jindal, by building this institution, has made a commitment towards posterity. He recognizes the role of education and its extraordinary potential to transform societies, and that is exactly what we have seen in the last 15 years, with over 13,000 students now in our university and over 12,000 alumni spread across India and around the world. Mr. Jindal not only made a commitment towards philanthropy by building the institution, but he also recognized the importance and protection of academic freedom, autonomy, and independence to build a world-class university. These institutional values have kept us in good stead, and for the last 15 years, we've been able to achieve a number of milestones, starting in a very modest manner with only 100 students, 10 faculty members, 20 administrative staff, 1 school, and literally 4 classrooms and 1 office space, which was my office, the office of the 10 faculty and the 20 administrative staff. It was a very modest beginning. Nothing was there when we began that journey. Today, we are a community of a larger community with over 13,000 students, 4,000 faculty and staff, and literally spread across India and around the world. This has been possible because of the vision and the commitment and the dedication of Mr. Jindal, as well as Mr. Shalu Jindal and the entire family. Not only that Mr. Jindal made this commitment towards philanthropy by building this institution, but this year he came with his family members and dedicated 10 buildings of the university to his wider family members, including his in-laws, but also his brothers and sisters. Such is his magnanimity that it is rarely seen to be able to make so much change in such a short span of time. So I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to our Chancellor, Mr. Jindal, for what he is and what he has made. Let me begin by briefly talking about the university's growth and evolution. I mentioned that we began on 30th September 2009, and today, this year, we are marking the 15th anniversary of O.P. Jindal Global University. We have traveled a long distance in these 15 years, and that has been possible because of the contribution of our students and indeed the alumni, and of course the parents who repose trust on us, a new institution that was established in Haryana, which is now literally connected the world to Haryana and brought the world to Haryana as well. Today, the transformative power of education is changing lives. But I must also mention that the graduating students today are also going to inherit a more complex world. Artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, and the early versions of ChatGPT has challenged the very idea of work. People have begun to ask that to what extent education, including university degrees, are actually going to be useful in the future. People are predicting the potential demise of universities in a world where we will be embracing technology and technological revolution will take over. I, for one, do not believe that universities will lose their value, let alone their impact. I strongly believe that the future will have an even greater role for universities. Advent of new forms of technology will challenge us, will create new opportunities for change, will recognize the role for regulatory frameworks, analytical possibilities, and to most importantly develop a critical mind that will challenge the use of technology. In fact, as it was said, technology can help us decide and indeed work towards making a new nuclear bomb, but the study of liberal arts, humanities, social sciences, and law will challenge us in the first place whether it is necessary to make that bomb at all in the first place. Such is the power of education and its ability to transform societies. I want to refer to Noam Chomsky here because I know that our graduating students are also concerned about the future. In fact, at a time when so many wars are happening around the world, it is quite natural that our graduating students are thinking about what kind of world they are entering. I can't do better than Noam Chomsky when he said, and I quote, "Optimism is a strategy for making a better future. Because unless you believe that the future can be better, you are unlikely to step up and take responsibility for making it so," unquote. In fact, it's absolutely important for you to prepare for that uncertainty. I want to recognize the fact that there is going to be adversity and adversities of all kinds in the future. The only way to recognize that challenge is to respond with a greater degree of resilience. Your education at JGU should help you to build that resilience. In fact, resilience of the kind that we are talking about so that you can assume a leadership role. Education is a privilege, and studying at JGU is indeed a privilege. One of the remarkable things that our Chancellor has done is that not only have we created a private university with a deep commitment towards public service, but more importantly, to provide access to education for a large number of people who simply can't afford education. I had the privilege to study in Oxford and Harvard, but I did not spend 1 rupee to go there because my parents couldn't afford. I am happy to tell you, standing in front of you, that over 50% of our students at JGU are studying with some form of scholarship or the other. This is because of the philanthropic initiative of our Chancellor that not only we have been able to build a world-class institution, but he has recognized the importance of accessibility, equity, inclusion in the need for promoting higher education. We have been able to consistently ramp up our scholarships so that we are able to have students, including first-generation learners whose parents have never gone into a university. They are, and their children are studying at JGU. In fact, there are graduating students from that background, and congratulations to each one of you for being part of that vision and that imagination. In closing, I want to say that we have done so many things, and for the first time we did it. Whether it is building an institution that is strongly committed to internationalization, to be able to build international collaborations with nearly 500 universities in 75+ countries, to be able to have a strong gender diversity in our students and faculty, with over 50% of students women and over 55% of our faculty members women, to have faculty members from around the world, to be able to have an interdisciplinary ecosystem, and to be consistently ranked as India's first-ranked law school, overtaking the National Law School, Bangalore, as well for many years now in the QS World Rankings, to be the first-ranked private university in the QS World Rankings, to be the first-ranked BBA program in the Outlook rankings, to be the first-ranked liberal arts and humanities programs in the Education World Rankings. We have been getting these recognitions all through. But one of the most special recognitions was in the year 2020. As some of you know, the Honorable Prime Minister of India made a major public policy commitment some years ago to recognize that India needs to have universities among the top 100 in the world. To advance that commitment, they announced a major policy initiative in the form of institutions of eminence. after a very elaborate process out of 1,000 plus universities in India. 8 public universities and 4 private universities were selected and given the status of an institution of eminence by the Government of India, and I'm happy to report that we are one among them. We are also the only non-STEM, non-medicine university which has been given the status of an institution of eminence, and that has played a very significant role in our evolution. But we are also going to be doing something even bigger, and the Chancellor, Mr. Jindal, has given his blessings and has supported us all through. And this is a very unique initiative that we will be unveiling this year. This year is, of course, a very special year for us as we are celebrating the 15th anniversary of our university. But this is also a very special year for our country. India will be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution of India. On 26 November 1949, we adopted the Constitution of India. Nearly 300 members signed the Constitution. And of course, it later came into force on 26 January 1950 when we celebrated our Republic Day. But the day of 26 November 1949 was so significant as that's the day when the Constitution was adopted. To my surprise, I realized that we don't have a single institution in India in the form of a museum, in the form of an academy, which celebrates the Constitution and its evolution, its makers, its framers, and all the stories attached to the creation of the Constitution and its rights and freedoms, including the functioning of the court. Neither the Supreme Court of India, nor the Parliament, nor any of the high courts in India have an institution of the kind that we began to dream. The National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, right where the Liberty Bell is, has an amazing institution which pays tribute to this effort. We at O.P. Jindal Global University have embarked on a mission to establish India's first Constitution Academy, which is known as the Rights and Freedoms Museum, and we hope to inaugurate it on 26 November 2024 as we celebrate the 75th anniversary. And of course, it's important to recognize that the Constitution is too important a matter to be left with lawyers and judges, and I know that our Chief Justice will agree with my opinion. We need to democratize the understanding of Constitution. We need to access the information, but also the vision and the imagination of the people who wrote the Constitution. We need to provide civic education and build an enlightened sense of citizenship for our young people, and that is why we are building this Constitution Academy. I am confident that as we build the Constitution Academy, our university's contribution will be written in the annals of history, where a university took the effort to build one of the most important institutions of our democracy. I hope to welcome all of you to this event on 26 November 2024, when we'll be dedicating the Constitution Academy and the Rights and Freedoms Museum to the world and indeed to the nation at large. With those words, let me end by saying that congratulations to the class of 2424, and I'm so proud of each one of you. Thank you very much.